Good morning, my name is Megan Dodson. I'm a forecaster at the National Weather Service in Northern Indiana. This is a weather briefing regarding the severe weather threat for today, Sunday, June 25th, 2023. The Storm Prediction Center has upgraded portions of our area to an enhanced risk for severe storms and has expanded the slight risk to encompass areas further north and west than we had previously forecasted. The timing of the event is also earlier than the previous briefings indicated, from 2 to 8 p.m. It looks like the most likely timing is for storms to initiate in the west, probably between US 31 and Indiana State Route 15, somewhere between 2 and 4 p.m., and then progress eastward through the evening hours. And by about 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, the severe weather threat should pretty much be out of our area. So the potential threats with this event and any storms that develop are large hail, damaging winds, and maybe even a few tornadoes. There is high confidence in the severe storms occurring this afternoon and the overall event timing, but there's low to medium confidence regarding the overall coverage, intensity, and impacts of the storms that do develop and become severe. This will be the final briefing for this event unless there are significant changes to the forecast. As mentioned, the most favorable timing for severe weather will be between 2 and 8 p.m., with the storms initiating somewhere between Indiana State Route 15 and US 31 between 2 and 4 p.m. And it looks like we'll start out more as discrete storm cells or clusters of storms, and then as they move eastward, they should congeal into a more consolidated line. So that'll exit the forecast area about 8 p.m. So thinking about 4 to 6 p.m. for the Warsaw to Fort Wayne area in the central Michigan and Indiana, and then later in the evening towards Ohio. Most of the models are consistent with respect to the general progression of the event and the timing overall, so the forecast confidence in the timing itself is pretty high. Here's the likelihood of the potential threats with any of the severe storms that do develop. We have low to medium confidence in the intensity of the severe storms overall, with greater confidence in the lower end of the severe thresholds being met. So these thresholds of 60 miles an hour and hail up to 1 inch, we have pretty high confidence. We'll probably see some of that later today. As far as whether we get wind gusts above 70 miles an hour, 75 miles an hour, probably less likely. It looks like the more likely scenario will be larger hail, as the conditions are pretty favorable for that. That could be up to 2 inches in diameter, with obviously greater impacts if that occurs. There is a risk that we could see an isolated tornado or two. The Storm Prediction Center does have us in a 10% hatched area for significant tornadoes, defined as EF2 or greater, but our confidence is very low at this time. It is more likely as the storms congeal into a line, and we see our typical quick and generally weaker spin-ups along the leading edge. So one last note is that we are a little bit uncertain as to how widespread the coverage or the impacts will be. It's always quite variable in these kind of situations. So the most likely impacts from the event include weather delays or cancellations at outdoor events, wind damage and power outages, and maybe some hail damage to crops or siding, especially if we get some of those larger hailstones. And as far as actions to take, make sure that you're weather aware today and are ready to put your severe weather plan in place if needed, and have multiple ways to receive warnings and monitor our website for the latest information on watches, warnings, and advisories. So this concludes our briefing. Feel free to reach out to us with any questions, comments, or concerns you may have about today's forecast. Have a great day and stay safe.